I'm Astrid. As many of you know, I'm a teacher on Outschool. I also help with the onboarding and training of new teachers. Anyways, this is my own private channel. And I have posted a couple of tutorials, such as like using Google Slides and Nearpod. But I do get a lot of questions on flex classes. So I thought it might be helpful to make a video on how I do flex classes for Outschool. So first off, what is a flex class? It is short for flexible schedule class. And the flex classes on Outschool are the only types of classes where you don't use Zoom to meet live with the kids. So instead of meeting live, we're just communicating with each other through the classroom page, through email. So it's a little bit like what people would consider a self-paced course, but it's not what we would consider self-paced. It's more of an asynchronous course. So instead of just giving the student materials and then just letting them do it on their own, we're actually asking for feedback, for assignments, projects, some kind of homework, and communication and conversation with our learners. So the basic requirements of a flex class on Outschool is that it needs to be a minimum of 4 weeks in length. It also has to encourage a lot of interaction between the teacher and the learners. So a lot of things have changed over the years with flex classes, but there's always been a really big push for the interaction between teacher and learners, and for the learners to be able to communicate and interact with each other as well. So really, it's kind of like an offline version of the live class. In a live class, we're all together in Zoom. We can talk, ask questions, answer questions, and see each other. Well, we can't see each other at the same time in the flex class, but we can see each other's comments. So, and pictures and videos if they uploaded those. So we have to give them, as a teacher, give them the opportunity to share those comments, pictures, videos, and to discuss things with each other. So for example, with my flex classes, I have one of my most profitable flex class is my Kids Sew beginner to intermediate sewing. And so in that particular flex class, I have 6 weeks with my students. And each week I usually schedule it on a Monday. So every Monday I post the materials for that week. And the materials include a video tutorial that they watch. And then they have the assignment to make the project that they saw in the video and then post a picture of it in the classroom. I also encourage them to comment on each other's pictures. So it's really fun because, this is something that you could probably find on YouTube for free if you wanted to just find a video on how to sew a pillow. There's a wealth of information out there for free. But the difference between that and my class is that they get a place to share, a safe place for them to share their works. They can also interact with each other. So a lot of my students, they'll post their pillow and then the student underneath, "Oh, Madison, your pillow is so cute." Or another one posts their pillow, "Oh, elephants, my favorite animal is elephants. Oh, it's so fun." And so same thing with week 2, we move on to another project, which in that case is a tote bag. And so it's really fun to see what everybody chooses for their fabric. Then they can talk about any challenges. "I had a really hard time turning the straps right side out again, but I did it and I'm so happy and I love how it came out." And so the other kids are like, "Yeah, I did have a hard time with that step too." And so they can really interact with each other and share their experiences and then share their, brag about how awesome their project came out. So that's how the flex classes are supposed to work. Where it's really actually in the policies that it's not enough for a teacher to make a video showing how to do something and then just tell them, "Let me know if you have any questions." So instead, what you would do as a teacher to engage your students, like in a live class, you wouldn't just sit back and say, "Let me know if you need anything." Instead, you might ask them review questions like, "What did you think about this?" Or, "Did you notice this about that?" So that's what I would normally do in a live class. So it would be the same in a flex class as well. So you want to make sure that when you're thinking about a flex class, when you're designing your flex class as a teacher, that you're thinking about opportunities to give your students for them to interact with you and with the other students. So I think it's helpful to kind of screen share maybe one of my newer classes, because this one's was just recently approved with the like stricter standards on interaction. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and share one of my newer classes, Dance Academy, an Introduction to Dance for Beginners, and it has Flex in the title. So you want to make sure your title is in title case with the capital letters there, and then that it also mentions that it's a flex class, because some of our parents get a little bit confused with that. The picture I designed myself using free clip art, and I edited it, or I just kind of like edited myself in PixArt. That's one of my favorite like picture editing programs out there. It's an app. And if you kind of scroll down, you'll notice it's flexible for 5 weeks. There is a link here for them to click on if they don't know what a flex class is. And then it mentions that the class size can vary between 2 to 10 kids. I put a cap on the kids because I am like hoping that they send me their videos and pictures and upload comments. And so, like, my ideal situation is that all 10 kids are doing that. If I had like 18 kids doing that, it would be really overwhelming for me, and I wouldn't be able to keep up with all of the messages. And so I want them to have the most amazing experience. I don't want to sacrifice any of that experience just to squeeze a couple more kids in. So I set my minimum and my maximum to a size that I think that I can physically manage as a teacher. Sometimes you might not get all of the 10 students like really that active in the chats and in the conversation. Sometimes they're kind of like silent and that's okay. They are not required to write their comments in that classroom page, and they're not required to interact with each other, but it's really about giving them the opportunity to. So if they chose to be really active in the classroom page, you want to make sure that you can handle that many kids being active. The age range for this class is 9 to 14. We still have the 5-year age range for all of our classes on Outschool. So if you wanted to have older kids and younger kids, then you would have to set up like 2 separate listings, maybe one for the juniors, one for seniors. I do that with my Star Wars classes. I have my Padawans and my apprentices. And then it mentions that it's $60. I usually do charge roughly around the same amount that I charge for my live classes, but sometimes I round down or round up. It just kind of depends on the class. I just threw that price out there to see how successful it is, and it seems to book pretty well. Now, the available times, they're 5 weeks, so you'll notice that it just kind of like shows the dates Monday, June 8th through the 13th of July. So they can enroll in that. This one, it had already started, so it says they can enroll late. And the reason why is because since there's no live meetings, it's not like they really missed anything. It just means that they might have to catch up a little bit. But I do get some late enrollees. If you scroll down, we have the description here, and I spent quite a bit of time, formulating this lesson plan and also thinking about how I can also show the value in my class and why you would choose to spend $60 for this class. So I mentioned that we're going to learn 5 different popular dance styles all on your own schedule, that I demonstrate these styles on video. So I post a video at the beginning of the week. This video contains a workout routine that includes a full dance class of warm-up, stretches, dance technique, combinations, conditioning. I have a professional studio that I film this in. So I like to bring that out because not every flex class uses a video, and some parents don't like that. Some of them don't like just being given a PowerPoint. And most teachers, I will say, most teachers do make a video of them going through the PowerPoint if that's applicable. But I like to point that out just to specify, right? And then week 1, we have ballet. So I mentioned that this video includes a bar routine. We're going to learn a combination. Then the students are going to record themselves performing this combination and share it in the classroom, where we can discuss and review what we learned. And then not only that, but I also provide optional coloring sheets and a bonus homework assignment, which is a scavenger hunt for a famous ballet video. So I give them clues. See if you can find a dance by Baryshnikov or one of the variations of the Sleeping Beauty ballet. And so then each of the students might find something different, and they can share that in the classroom. So again, just giving them opportunities to engage with one another. Week 2 is basically it's very similar. So their video assignment uh, is to learn the choreography, and then this week they're supposed to add 8 more counts. Actually, in the video, I challenged them to do 16. So I put 8, just as a minimum, just in case. But I do actually have them go all the way to the end to the chorus, and so they are supposed to record it and put it back in the classroom. And then again, we have another video hunt with clues. So they're allowed to go on YouTube with their parents' permission. I mentioned that in the class, that's how they can find those video, the scavenger hunt. So same thing with week 3, week 4, week 5. Some of the other things like week 4, it's a little bit different. They're actually going to be learning, I'm sorry, week 3, they learn improvisational dance. And so I give them a challenge to improvise to a specific song. And then another one, I use a poem. It's a spoken word poem. And so anyways, again, I'm really just giving them opportunities to engage with one another, not just giving them information, because, they can find that on YouTube, and they can find it anywhere, not just YouTube. I mean, even locally, if there's a dance studio, I always give them that option to, if you like tap dance, if you like this lesson, check out your local studios and see if you can sign up for classes. But the difference is that, we do have a lot of kids that are like, they like to be on video, so they kind of get excited about that option. So they can record a video straight onto the classroom page, or they can record it on their own and then upload it. So it's pretty fun. Other lessons that I offer as flex classes include Nearpod, and I do have a separate video on how to use Nearpod for flex classes. And so Nearpod is basically an interactive version of PowerPoint. It's really fun. I think that it's really cool. If you're interested in using it and wanting to learn how to use it for a live class or a flex class, then you check out that video. So I'll link that one below. But anyways, that's how a flex class works. As far as what the classroom page looks like, I'm going to open one that does not have any enrolled learners in here. This one is brand new, doesn't have any learners booked. But normally when a learner books a class, their name will appear here under enrolled. And then we have the classroom page. So if you notice, this looks exactly the same as our live class listings do. So if you had like a one-time class, multi-day class, or an ongoing class, this looks exactly the same. I'm going to click on Classroom, and you'll notice I still have this green button to start a live meeting. So of course, for a flex class, there are no scheduled live meetings. But actually for my Kids Sew class, I do offer them a one-on-one session. If they needed help with anything, they can schedule a time to meet with me, and we can both click on this green button here and meet in Zoom. So I've only actually had to do that twice in the 2 years that I've been teaching that class for like over 200 learners, because most of the time the video covers all their questions. But a couple of times I had a student who was using a used machine or like a weird brand that I had never heard of, and I couldn't really find their manual online. And so I said, you know what, let's just go ahead and meet right here, and then you can show me. And so it worked out really great. We just met for like 20 minutes, and then that was it. So if you wanted to schedule a time, some other teachers will use this Zoom meeting and say, we're going to have an open study hall on Friday between 12 and 1. If you want to join, then click on this green button. I'm going to be there, and you can ask me questions, or we can, do whatever. So if you wanted to do that, you can. You can also use this button here to launch Zoom and record yourself. So if you wanted to record something for your classroom to watch, it's only going to be for this section. You're not going to be able to use it for your other sections and your other flex classes. But let's say you wanted to record yourself a specific video just for this class. You could do that with this button here. But anyways, here we are on the classroom page. Besides this green button, we also have my welcome post. I have the option to add a new post. So what I normally do is I will schedule my posts in advance. So this particular class is supposed to start June 29th. I have the option here in this drop box, published or unpublished. And if I click on unpublished, I don't have anything because I haven't scheduled anything just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on unpublished. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to click on add a new post. Now I could just type out my post brand new. Welcome to week 1. Let's start. you know, here's the link to your video, here's your assignment for the week, let's go. Or if I've already taught this class before, I already have a post, so I'm going to copy existing post, and I'm going to pick one of my previous classes. Let's say the one that started on June 8th, which was one that's brand new as well. And I'm going to choose a post. So I'm going to pick week 1, and I'm going to copy this post. Now that all of the text is in here, as well as any attachments. If you had any attachments, they would attach there as well. So you'll notice it says, welcome to our first day of dance class. I'm so excited to get started, blah, blah, blah. Here's our video here. And then when I click send, so this one's supposed to start on the 29th, right? So I'm going to click send. You'll notice that I can publish now or I can publish later. And I'm going to check the 29th. And I usually post mine at 9 a.m. Central, or 8 a.m. I guess. No, let's just do 9 a.m. And then I select publish later. And now under unpublished, I have this one here. So you'll notice it says it's supposed to be auto posted at 9 a.m. Central on Monday, June 29th. And then the same thing for week 2. I could just go ahead and schedule week 2 post right here, because I've already taught this class a few times. And good morning, welcome back to week 2. So I'm going to send that one on July 6th. Here we are, and I'm going to select 9 a.m. as well. All right, so now this is actually what it's going to look like in the classroom. It'll have a new post for week 1, a new post for week 2, and under all of these posts, they'll have the option to comment. You'll notice, just like with my welcome post here, they can write a comment. And there's also the little paper clip to attach. So if they wanted to attach a file, like if there was a worksheet that you gave them, then they had to print it out or whatever, send it back to you. They could also add a video. If you click on add a video, you'll notice you can record the video directly onto this web browser right there. So that's kind of cool, because if you have a student that doesn't like to type out a lot of things, or maybe they're like a younger student, they can just record themselves talking, which my son has taken some flex classes like that, and it was super fun. The kids just went back and forth recording themselves on video, which is really fun. So that's a little bit of how the classroom works. Obviously, I would just go ahead and schedule all 5 of the weeks up front for this particular class. And then whenever, you know, it's time for that assignment to go out, it auto posts the assignment. The kids get an email that says that, you know, it's like, well, whatever you wrote in the assignment here. So they'll get the email and it says, welcome to week number 1. Welcome to our first day. And so they can go into the classroom, click on all of these links, and comment whenever they're ready to comment and do so. Other than that, the only other things that I ever use for my flex classes is the Learners tab. When your learner is enrolled, you'll see their name here. When you click on their name, you have the option to private message them. So if you wanted to send a message to the whole classroom, you would do it here. Anything that you type here, whether it's a new post or a comment, is going to email the learner. But if you just wanted to send one to the learner, or if the learner wants to private message you, they can send attachments and message you in this field here. So that's really helpful. You know, I think it's helpful to know that you don't have to send it in a mass email either. The only other thing too I'd like to bring out is that some parents have their learners set up with a separate email address under their learner profile. So if they do have a separate email address, like my son has one, and so if the teacher messages him here, it sends the message to his email and it sends a copy to mine as well as the parent. But if I just wanted to send a message to the parent without copying the student, you do have the option on this side here. You'll see the parent's name, and you can message the parent privately in case you didn't want the student to see a message. So lots of options there. Well, I hope that helped you to get started on flex classes. Again, the most important thing to remember is that it's not enough to just throw out the materials and say, let me know what you think, or let me know if you had questions, or maybe just not even giving them anything to do and just, you know, kind of like maybe say, tell me what you thought about it or something like that. Also, like, even with them, like, submitting the worksheets, let's say you had a worksheet for them to submit, you know, you give them opportunities beyond that. And that way the approvals team with Outschool can see that you're really encouraging the interaction between the students. Some of the popular ways that teachers kind of engage students other than just worksheets and discussion questions is by using games and interactive things like Edpuzzle, Kahoot, Nearpod is a great one as well. So those are fine, and third-party apps are allowed, and you can use Google Classrooms. And you know, some teachers have used Google Classrooms and Canvas in the past. Now, there's a difference between how they used to be used and how they're allowed now. So if you're a little bit confused about that, I'll just clarify that really quickly. So in the past, teachers were allowed to put and host all of the class materials on Google Classrooms or on Canvas. And we took a class like that. My son took one where we had to go to Canvas. So basically we just signed up through Outschool, but everything was on Canvas. All of the materials were there, the quizzes, the grading, you know, all of that stuff was done there. That's not allowed anymore. Instead, Outschool is requiring all of the interaction to be in the Outschool classroom page. So you can host your materials there, but they're supposed to come back to Outschool to actually submit the assignments, to discuss things. So when I use Nearpod for my flex classes, they have the materials in Nearpod, but then they have an assignment that takes them back to Outschool. So like, for example, this week was Romeo and Juliet from my new Shakespeare Flex class, and the lesson is in Nearpod, and it has all the videos, the games, quizzes, polls. It has like slideshows. It's really cool. And then the very last part is that they have to write an alternate ending or even act it out with like puppets or something, you know, or like their stuffed animals. So not an alternate ending, I'm sorry, a modern retelling of Romeo and Juliet. They actually do have to write an alternate ending in Nearpod. So they're supposed to type out an alternate ending to Romeo and Juliet, and then go back to the Outschool classroom page. And their assignment is to write a modern retelling of Romeo and Juliet. And they can either just tell it to me on the video or they can act it out if they really want to. And so that way, you know, I have the materials hosted over there, but all of our discussion is on Outschool. And the main reason for that is so that Outschool can monitor what's going on. Also, though, some of the parents really hate having like a separate login and having to go to another site. I actually really wasn't a fan of going to Canvas. That was my least favorite thing about that class. And I didn't mark down the teacher or anything for it because I thought the class itself was really cool. But I really thought it wasn't really as it wasn't as convenient for my son to do it on his own. So what I really look for in a flex class as a parent is to be able to have my son log in, read through his assignments by himself, you know, go through the assignment by himself. If he needs help, you know, maybe printing things out or, you know, maybe help with the assignment itself, then fine. But I really want him to be able to navigate, you know, the site on his own. And since he is really familiar with the Outschool classroom by now, he's 11, he's been taking classes on Outschool for 3 years. It looks exactly the same for live classes versus flex. So he's completely 100% comfortable with Outschool. And so it's really helpful for me as a parent to be able to just say, go to the classroom. And then especially if the parent, or sorry, if the teacher has organized the posts in like week 1, welcome to week 1. Then I can find week 1 really easily. Welcome to week 5. Oh, here's the week 5 post, and only one for week 5. And that way everything is underneath week 5, and I can kind of like, you know, he's really used to being able to like sort through the comments and the posts. So that's what Outschool is really looking for, is just kind of having things a little bit more familiar. You don't have to learn Canvas. You don't have to learn Google Classrooms. In fact, for that one class that I mentioned, the teacher actually made a video on how to use Canvas. And I was just like, oh, serious? Because I don't want to learn how to use Canvas just to be able to access this class. And so once they changed the rule to where everything needs to be in Outschool, that teacher still offers the class, and and he's able to still offer it the same way, just through the Outschool page instead. So you might have to do a little bit of adjusting, and you know, there's some things you might have to change about your flex class if you had an idea, and maybe, you know, just to be able to fit it into the Outschool platform, you might have to adjust it a little bit. But as a parent, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the interaction. I appreciate the assignments because it gives my kids something to do, and it really kind of helps to, you know, like reinforce what they learned from you in that lesson. So I really enjoy the flex classes. I think a lot of parents do too. I love teaching flex classes because it's way more easy for my schedule. I did spend a lot of time recording my videos, and as far as that goes, it's really up to you how you want to do that. Some teachers use Zoom to record themselves, and then just make sure you do that in your own Zoom uh, account, and that way you have the file, because if you do that on the Outschool Zoom account, you can't download it, and so you can't, like, you know, share it between other sections, as I mentioned before. So just like log in your own Zoom account, you know, go through your presentation just like you would in a live class maybe, and then you, what I do is, like, I host it on my own private YouTube channel as a private or unlisted video, and that way I can give the links to my students in the classroom page. Another thing that I've done before for my sewing classes, I actually took my phone, I put it on a tripod, and that way I could, like, angle it, you know, a little bit better to see my hands, and then also the little buttons on the machine and the needle and changing the needles and things like that. So that might be another option for you, just recording it on a second camera, and then editing it or splicing it in an editing software. I highly recommend Shotcut. Shotcut is a free software that I found online, and it works really well, and it's really user friendly. So I'm not 100% tech savvy with those types of things. So I actually found it really helpful, really easy to learn. So feel free to leave a comment below if you need, if you have like a general question. But I hope that that was helpful to you, and I look forward to seeing some flex classes on the site. Thanks.